Hello, everybody. I hope everyone had a really great Thanksgiving. And I want to welcome everybody to today's episode of Michael's Corner. I'm your host, Michael. Now, if you like this type of show, please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who would be interested in this type of show. Also, make sure you check out newimagestore.com for some great holiday gift items. Now, today I'll be talking about COVID-19. I know many of you are tired of what has been going on with this pandemic. Rest assured, I just want to consolidate everything I have already covered on this topic and explain a few new developments, which is why this episode is entitled COVID-19 Full Circle. I'll go over what I've covered previously and add some updates with some new information in this episode. Now, the first up was when I first did COVID-19 in episode 3. Now, at that time, I discussed what vaccines were available at the time and stressed the need to keep wearing masks and discussed the herd mentality about having enough people vaccinated, which was 75 to 80%, before we would have worldwide resistance to the disease. As of now, 53.9% of the world population has been vaccinated. We are getting close to what we need, but we're not there yet. We still need to come up with 30%, at least about 30%, 25-30%, to have everybody more resistant to the disease in general. Now, in episode 7, employment or unemployment, that is the question, I updated and added 2 new vaccines that had become available since that episode 3, and it brought the number of vaccines up to 5. And then the last 2 were more effective against the new strains. Now, the interesting fact is that some people do not realize that since vaccines are not 100% effective yet, and fully vaccinated people can still get what is called a breakthrough infection of COVID-19. So we must still protect ourselves. Finally, in my most recent episode, which was episode 14, COVID-19, to vax or not to vax, I talked about how the government has the right to compel people to get vaccinated in the interest of public safety, and I discussed how vaccines like the mRNA vaccines are much safer than previous developments in vaccine technology. Now, as a side note, booster shots are now available to those who have been immunized already, especially if you have received your shots 6 months ago or longer, and now children over 5 years old can get vaccinated. So if at least your children are 5 years old, they can get vaccinated now. So that's kind of a plus side to everything right now. Now, be sure to check out these episodes to get more details on what I did cover in those episodes, and that'll give you a complete picture of the situation as I have talked about it for the last few months. Now, as to the current situation, first of all, constitutionally, I have found out that the government cannot force people to get vaccinated, so what they do is they skirt around this issue by going for the public safety and welfare argument. Unfortunately, this is not, like I said, is not legal according to the 14th Amendment. Now, that does not mean that private business and industry cannot compel you to get vaccinated. They can make getting vaccinated a requirement in order to work for them, as it is called free enterprise. Now, some people can decline vaccination due to religious reasons, which is upheld in most states except California or New York. It boils down to this. The government cannot legally compel you to be vaccinated, but private business can, and state mandates can for public safety reasons. Kind of clear. I hope this cleared up a couple of things for everybody. Some states, however, are seeking legal protections for people due to anti-discrimination laws, the ones that don't want to get vaccinated. This will not likely succeed because vaccination has nothing to do with race, gender, or religion, which is what they're attempting to circumvent. Though religion is the tricky one, especially as I spoke earlier about, for religious reasons not getting vaccinated. My take is that health organizations fall under the health and public safety umbrella, and nurses, doctors, or anyone who sees patients like hospitals and clinics should absolutely require people working for them to get vaccinated. It's just a safety issue for patients. Now on to the situation involving unvaccinated people. Now, according to Darwinian theory, vaccines are always looking for a breeding ground to grow and evolve so that they can survive, which is just like human development, which is basically survival of the fittest. Now, unvaccinated people are the perfect breeding ground for a virus that has no resistance to its evolutions. It is possible that an unvaccinated, person would assist the COVID-19 virus in evolving in order to solve the vaccination problem so that current viruses would no longer be, virus immunizations would no longer be effective. Now, to stop this from happening, everyone who does not want to be vaccinated should be tested at least weekly to make sure they do not have the virus. This gives them a choice: either stay unvaccinated and be tested often, or just get the vaccination. At least this way, there is a choice for these individuals. This seems harsh, but it would allow people dead set against vaccination the ability to stay that way without endangering others. The last thing I want to address is the claim that unvaccinated people are causing all of the new cases of COVID-19. This has something to do with viral load, which is a measurement of the amount of a virus in an organism, typically in the bloodstream, usually stated in virus particles per milliliter. So it's kind of one of those type of situations. Now, science has proven that in many cases, unvaccinated and vaccinated people may have the same virus load and be just as effective at transmitting the disease. It does not matter whether the person is vaccinated or unvaccinated. I just want to clarify this for everyone. There is still a similar possibility of transmitting the disease. Generally, it is less likely that a vaccinated person will spread the disease because the viral load would be less, but science has proven that there is no guarantee of that because right now we do not understand at what level it would not be contagious. Okay, so we don't know where that is yet. In conclusion, blaming the unvaccinated people for spreading the disease, which a lot of people are doing, if they're doing that exclusively, it is wrong. It all depends on the viral load, as I have described earlier. I will reiterate what I have said in earlier episodes. We still need to wear masks, whether we are vaccinated or not, and keep a safe distance until we can finally eradicate this disease. That's my soapbox for today. See you guys in the next section. Welcome back. Now, this episode has been very eye-opening for me, and I hope all of you feel the same way. I have tried to give you guys a review of everything I have explained in earlier episodes and the updates included in this one. As usual, if any of you have any questions about anything I have covered in this episode, please feel free to tell me in the comments. I have no questions from you guys today, and I'm not going to ask any questions in this episode because there's a lot to digest about this pandemic, and I think developments in this crisis will continue. I'll see you all in the next section and my final thoughts for the episode. Welcome to my final thoughts. Now, much has happened since the beginning of this pandemic, and we have come a long way in our understanding of it. We as a people need to follow the developments as they occur and not prejudge the controversies that come up based on what you see in the news and other media outlets. We as a people need to fact check what is being said, as I have, to get to the truth of the matter. Panicking, whether it comes to unvaccinated people spreading the disease or whatever is causing the panic, is not going to solve this crisis. Only by being calm will we finally overcome this pandemic and move on with our lives. Now, briefly, I've talked about COVID-19 based upon my research and the knowledge that we have gained from my previous episodes. If you want to get the full picture of all I have discussed, please watch my other videos which will be listed after this section. Now, that is all I have for today. Now, the next episode is entitled The 14th Amendment, a case study. I have been wanting to do something on this so much because so much of the controversy that we have had in the United States of late and in the last 50 years especially has been centered around this amendment. I'll attempt to clarify a few things and examine how it has changed. Until then, I want all of you to be safe, be careful, be open-minded, and I will see you all in my next show. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.